The Arkansas legislative fiscal session for this year is underway, with lawmakers taking up the governor's $6.7 billion budget. It includes hundreds of millions for the state's school voucher program. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer spoke with educators about how the program is impacting schools and what they want to see from lawmakers this time. Lauren?
The Education Freedom Account program, created under the LEARNS Act, would receive more than $300 million under the governor's proposed budget. That includes $122 million in new funding and another $70 million set aside for future growth. The program allows families to use public money for private school or homeschool expenses. But as the program expands, so does the debate over its impact. As lawmakers return to the Capitol, education is front and center. In her State of the State address Wednesday, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders defended the EFA program, saying it gives families more choice.
A good education is the key that opens the door to a lifetime of opportunity. We cannot allow a child's destiny to be determined by their zip code or the size of their parents' bank account.
President of the Arkansas Education Association, April Reisma, says public schools, which educate about 90% of students, are feeling the impact.
You can't underfund something and expect it to succeed. You need to make sure that our public dollars go to where they're needed the most. And the most are our vulnerable students.
Rogers Superintendent Dr. Jeff Perry says in his district, the picture is more complex, with multiple factors affecting enrollment, tornado damage, housing issues, and immigration. Numbers from the ADE show Rogers lost over 700 students from the 2022-2023 school year to now.
It's somewhere around $8,000 a student that we would get. So when we lose 200 students, that's a significant amount of money for us.
He says if there's going to be school choice, there also needs to be standards.
If there's no accountability, that's when we will see the damage created by these policies.
Reisma says she wants to see lawmakers put some guardrails in place this fiscal session.
If you're going to continue giving funds for these vouchers, you need to hold those entities accountable.
The EFA program is open to all students in Arkansas, with more than 44,000 participating this year, according to the Department of Education. When it comes to education, the governor also mentioned increasing reading scores across nearly all grades and raising teacher pay. Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
All right, Lauren, thanks. Governor Sanders also highlighting food insecurity and law enforcement funding in the State of the State address today. She also says once the fiscal session ends, a special session will be called to cut state income tax rates. It would be the 4th time in 4 years Arkansas has cut income tax rates. The governor says it would be a 0.2% cut, and it would give back $180 million to Arkansas taxpayers.
When we do this together, we will have cut 25% off of our state income tax in just 4 years and given back more than $1.5 billion to our people. Low taxes and a great quality of life are a really big reason that people move to our state.
Her opponent in November's election, Democrat Fred Love, responded to that address today, saying the tax cuts won't benefit every Arkansan.
Here's the question. What did you get for that tax cut? Because those cuts overwhelmingly benefit the wealthiest Arkansans. And every time we cut the top rate for millionaires and billionaires, it gets harder to fund schools, child care, health care, and services for our seniors.
I've also highlighted maternal health care and the Franklin County Prison Project in his response, and you can watch both addresses on demand on 5 News Plus. A federal judge has denied the settlement terms in that Illinois River watershed pollution lawsuit. He says the 4 poultry companies looking to settle are not doing enough to fix the pollution problem. In December, the same court ruled poultry companies must pay for cleanup efforts over a 30-year time span. But in today's ruling, the judge says the companies are proposing only 7 to 10-year cleanup efforts. The judge predicted once that time span ends, taxpayers will then end up paying for the watershed cleanup. He also says the companies are not paying enough to the special master team that will oversee the cleanup, and a lot of the money could go to outside counsel. Judge ultimately ruled the proposed settlement cannot work. Oklahoma Attorney General Gentner Drummond said in a statement yesterday he wanted the settlements to be accepted quickly by the court. Says if they weren't accepted, quote, risks unraveling agreements that took months of good faith negotiations to reach. Well, the Arkansas Supreme Court will hear oral arguments tomorrow in the appeal case of a Benton County man facing the death penalty. Zachary Holley was convicted for the murder of 6-year-old Jersey Bridgman and was sentenced to death in 2015. He was also found guilty of kidnapping and raping the victim. Holley has tried to overturn his sentence for more than a decade, arguing he had ineffective counsel. Each side will have 20 minutes tomorrow to argue their side of the case. Classes were canceled today at Pauls Valley High School in central Oklahoma after a school shooting. School's principal is being called a hero after police say the incident could have ended a whole lot worse. The State Bureau of Investigation says the suspect, Victor Hawkins, gained entry into the school. Principal Kirk Moore and other staff spotted Hawkins and tried to subdue him, which led to the shooting. Moore was shot in the leg and then taken to the hospital. He was the only person injured, and officials say he will make a full recovery.
The actions of the staff and the principal stepping in as soon as they saw a subject with a firearm saved lives today.
Want me to bigger Panther, and he really, and I know the word gets thrown around quite a bit, but he is a hero.
Hawkins was booked into the Garvin County Jail on 2 counts of pointing a firearm and 1 count of shooting with intent to kill, 2 counts of unlawful carry. Some Franklin County residents are raising concerns about road problems after a Paris school bus ended up in a ditch this week. 5 News reporter Taylor Howard looks into the issue and talked with a student on board the bus when it happened.
Scared. Someone was crying and some of them was trying to see what's going on.
What was supposed to be a normal ride home from school turned into a scary situation when a bus slid off into a ditch. It happened on Schuweiler Lane in Paris Tuesday afternoon. It was about a block from the local high school. No one was injured, but 9th grader Jeremy Johnson says he couldn't stop shaking.
I was on the side with more air up to it. And I was afraid if more kids move around, they would tip over.
I talked with neighbors who say the picture of the bus off the roads tells another story about the road itself.
There's no guardrails, and they're deteriorating away. The pipes are showing. They need to be cement barriers or something put up.
Daryl Schuweiler has lived on Schuweiler Lane for 40 years. He and other neighbors have raised concerns for just as long, saying it's a dangerous road.
For 40 years, funds not available. I don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
The road is considered public use, meaning it falls under the county's maintenance. Logan County judge told me funding is limited for rural roads like this one, saying, quote, "We don't have the money to pave every road in the county." He also says the road is maintained through regular grading. But Schuweiler says that doesn't fix the deeper issues. He says when it rains, water builds up, like this, which is creating deeper ditches and washes out parts of the road.
There's no edges on these roads. They're graded too slick, and you will slide off if it's the least bit wet. The sides of the road are deteriorating, and there's no ditches here to get rid of the water.
In Paris, covering news where you live, Taylor Howard, 5 News.